course, the delay captures my cough that I did about a minute ago. Sorry about that for anybody who hopped on and just heard me cough in their ear. Here. Welcome. Let's see how many people we got. Let that load for a second. Hello, welcome everybody. We're early. We're a minute early, and we usually wait a minute or two or three to let everybody get a chance to see the announcement, to hop on. So thank you to all of you who are hopping on and joining us. Hello. We're a little early today. The music's a little loud. I'll drop that music a little bit so I'm not shouting over it. Hello and welcome. There's that. Cool. Sent out our messages. Drop the quality of this for me. That's perfectly fine. Oh, we got a couple people on. Hello. Ray at 10. We started a little early. Started just a minute early. We were on Discord actually early. I'll talk about that in a second. But as always, we're gonna give it a couple minutes for everybody to hop on and join us as we get Steve Harrington ready for episode 9, which is definitely coming. It's absolutely coming. I'm still waiting. I keep refreshing Netflix. I'm gonna drop it even a little bit more, because I just saw the message that's a little high. Just want that light in the background. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Gonna give it till about 10:02, 10:03 my time. Probably 10:02 because we started a little early. And I want to jump into this. I'm excited. I'm gonna have some fun with Steve here. Let me pull up Mixamo, make sure I got that ready just in case. This Steve came with a rig, but I like to use the Mixamo rig instead. Cool. Have that ready. Just giving people a second to hop on as I check our socials, check to make sure everybody's seen that we are live, that we are ready to go. Oh, come on. There we go. I got Mixamo pulled up, ready to go. As we load Steve, get Steve ready. It is 10:02. Let us jump into it. Grab the Discord link because we did something extra special today, and we'll probably do it again. It was moderately successful for having no warning. So, hi everybody, and welcome to the MetaTailor live stream. Today, as you saw from our post, we are dressing Steve Harrington for that secret episode 9, the Conformity Gate episode that is definitely, absolutely 100% coming to Netflix later tonight. I'm just gonna keep it refreshing. You should keep hitting refresh too. It'll come out, I promise. But I did grab a cool outfit. On the Discord, I just linked the invite to the Discord where I was posting about this. I did post some references of where I got this idea for Steve and kind of how I pulled different outfits. All the outfits today are pulled for free off of Sketchfab, so you could create this as well. But that was kind of my journey, is these were the references I was using. And I just linked that onto the link on Discord in the chat, so feel free to join us there. If you like videos like this one, as always, please hit like and subscribe. And as I'm talking about that Discord, make sure you join the Discord community. That's where we announce things like the streams and stuff. And today, right before I was hanging out, I was doing some pre-work for this Steve Harrington. I was splitting off ARM textures, and when I cleared that and I still had 10 minutes left to go, I started testing out other models I might use for future live streams. We were just having a fun little hangout before this stream, really unannounced. I just kind of posted it on the Discord earlier today saying, hey, I'll be on a little early doing some work if you want to join me. And we had a couple people hop in and hang out with us. We had music playing, I was talking, explaining what I was doing, talking about some fun stuff with that. We had a couple of our other developers and people from MetaTailor in there. So if you're interested in fun things like that, please join us on the Discord. I might start doing that more frequently. So make sure you follow the Discord. Another great reason to follow the Discord is that's where we give you any sort of update news. Update news. If you're watching, make sure you sign up for Discord. There might be some big news next week. I won't tell you what it is. Gotta be on Discord, gotta be watching, but there might be some big news next week. Early next week, take a look out for that. See what might be coming down the pipeline. There might be something big. So make sure you follow us on Discord to see those notifications because they find out first. Other than that, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's go ahead and take a look at Steve Harrington and all this stuff. Once again, this is a behind the scenes episode, so it's going to be less walking you through exactly what I'm doing. Of course, I'm going to talk and explain what I'm doing, but this is not necessarily an educational one. This is showing you how I would tackle it if this is in my pipeline. And what's really interesting about today is I have those references. I pulled references, and then I started hunting down pieces and pulled a whole bunch of different pieces. So this is really true to a pipeline that an everyday user might be. All the other ones were kind of like a little bit pre-built, and we talked about different things along those lines with SpongeBob, just kind of talking about customized characters and stuff like that. But this one truly is ground up character design trying to mimic something, which I think is really cool. So let's jump into it. All right, desktop plus my head. Whew, that was the old thing. All right, so I was testing something earlier. Let me delete this avatar because I'm done with this. So I am using the public beta, public beta, 2.5.3. I am a admin / pro user, so everything I'm doing is under MetaTailor Pro. If you sign up for the Pro license, you're gonna get access to do a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. There might be a couple things here and there that I can do that you can't do, but that would only be like getting stuff for free off the marketplace because I got that admin lever. But everything else is available to you as a pro user with the 2.5.3 beta, as well as our bridge right here. So you get access to that. But as a free user, you also get a lot of these features as well. You just lose out on a lot of the tools, but you do get unlimited imports and 5 exports per month. So let's go ahead and hit new project. What's really cool about this update is I've got this custom avatar import right here. I can go ahead and click on this, and I've got Steve Harrington on my desktop. So let's go ahead and grab Steve right here. And here is Steve. I'm gonna grab my Steve FBX. I can't remember if this one has the skeleton, but we're gonna find out together. If it doesn't, like I said, I got Mixamo pulled up. Aha, it's not skin, so let's throw it into Mixamo real quick. Upload a character. It's a character from file. Let me show you how quick this is. And last week we talked about splitting off ARM textures, and we didn't do it because it takes time. And I did it today. So if you're interested in how to do that, feel free to reach out. But I showed that early in the Discord stream. I can make a video of that showing you as well. It's really easy to do, but that doesn't take a lot of time either. That's something that's really fast. Getting a character rigged and getting a character's ARM texture split off from the blended orange, green, yellow that we're gonna see in a little bit are really easy to do pre-MetaTailor. That's kind of the pre-work that I do before these streams. So there he is, Steve Harrington. Next, Mixamo is a fantastic tool for fast auto rigging, but not only that, if you use Mixamo to fast auto rig your characters, you can preview the pre-built animations we have. I wish this was a little bigger, like the whole window. I feel like I'm moving a very small amount. Get those elbows in here. My mouse is like extra sensitive today. These knees in here. And the groin. All right, but yeah, if you use Mixamo like this, get a fast skeleton on here. The really great part is that it works in MetaTailor, takes an instant, download an FBX character ready to go, bring it in, bring your avatar in, so you don't have to do any of that rigging. Super fast, your Mixamo, and you get to preview these animations. So just let that run. There he is. Let's hit next. All right, once he's ready to go, all we have to do is download him. We can play some animations on there, but let's get into actually dressing him. Download FBX. I like to keep them in their original pose, so it's not taking any of the, it's not contorting it in any way to Mixamo standards. I want to just keep it in the pose that it was in. And bring this to our Steve, and I like to call him Mix when I add them to Mixamo. There we go. Mixamo is done. Let's try to import that avatar again. Steve Mix, open. Call him Steve Harrington. Steve the Hair Harrington. There he is. Mixamo crushed him. I don't know why this happened, but what I can do, we can fix that by clicking apply pose right there. And then it applies the pose that MetaTailor has for you. So it kind of fixes it for that. If you didn't like the scale, you could change the scale. We've got our material that says torso. We've got a couple of things in here. Let's go ahead and find these. Color, torso, Steve. Steve, oh no. I checked all my textures. Why are these textures not showing up? Let's see here. I thought I had cleared everything to make sure I was good. Oh, they're DDS files. We had this the previous week, and I just, because it previews them, I think DDS to JPEG. Find the same converter I used last 2 weeks ago. But because they're like previewed as pictures, I just assume they're JPEGs. Done. Download all. Desktop. Where are you? There you are. Trash U4. Bring U4 into there. There we go. Let's try that again. All right, color. We're on torso 01. Torso 01. There it is. No normal maps, that's fine. It is just flat colors, which makes our life easier anyway. Torso 00. That's gonna be all his skin, all his flesh, legs. Head. I skipped lashes. I got lashes right there, but I'll just do head. Do I have hair? Do. There it goes. I'm not gonna do eyelashes. That seems like a lot. I'm just gonna keep it just like that. There is Steve the Hair Harrington. And next step, if we had actual clothes that came off this body, this would be an excellent use of our mesh extractor right here. Our mesh extractor works really well with our Character Creator 4 and 5 plugins, because those characters come dressed over their bodies. Those clothes are over their bodies. So if you bring those into MetaTailor with our amazing plugin that you get as a pro user, you can extract those clothes off and immediately put them into your library, almost like a batch import of all those clothes. I had a great question on the Discord a couple of days ago asking about batch importing files. I'm like, there's not a great way to batch import files unless you have them on a model and can use that mesh extractor. That's the exact use case for the mesh extractor. But they just had a whole bunch of stuff pulled from all over the place that they wanted to import, and I'm like, oh, that's just sit down, put on Stranger Things, binge watch it in the background while you start grinding those through. But this mesh extractor is a great way to do that. Next step, landmarks. It does pretty well with these landmarks. Knees, heels, toes, belly, arms, neck, they're all looking good. The wrist is looking good. It's landing those landmarks, helped off the rig. It did excellent with that nose tip. Skull crown, I might bring that a little bit lower and bring that back to center. Because it's compensating for a little bit of that hair, but I don't want it to. At least I don't want it to. That looks pretty good. All right, everything else on this looks great. So very little fixes, very little corrections, but if you needed to, you could correct it right here and hit next step. So that's looking beautiful. Cool, we got quite a few people on. Hi, everybody, welcome. I'll update Netflix at the end of this stream, and we'll do a watch party if there's episode 9 out there. Awesome. So there might be some things you'll notice about this. We're about to get Steve Harrington dressed, but something that is coming in differently than a lot of our past models is he's already dressed. He's already got clothes. Now, there just wasn't a great Steve model, and I wasn't going to sit and try to attach his head to another character to try to get this to work, or sit in MetaHuman and create some uncanny valley version of Steve Harrington. So instead, I thought, the clothes kind of work. If you look at those references that I posted on Discord, he's wearing layers. He's going to the upside down. It's going to be cold there. So I thought, you know what? This isn't that big of a deal. We can absolutely work around these clothes and still create a cool character. So if your avatar already comes clothed, you can just use that as a base and layer off of that. So we're going to take a look at it that way, the same way that I'm doing here, and see how well we can build off of this with this base layer of clothes. So let's give it a shot. All right, so I've got this character ready. You saw I had a whole bunch of things that we're going to be bringing in. So let's go ahead and import cloth and accessory. Go back to Steve here. I'm not going to start with a backpack. Let's just start. I've got a jacket and I've got a vest, and those are the two kind of upper body pieces I have besides the bandana. So let's go ahead and grab the jacket. Jacket right here, open. There it is. I was looking for a cool kind of open bomber jacket. I did find one on Sketchfab that claimed it was low poly, and it came in with like 10 million polys. I'm like, okay, so if that's low, I'd hate to see what's not low. So let's go ahead and throw a normal map on there, just give it a little extra detail. Did it have an ambient occlusion? No, it just has a metallic and a roughness, which those two might be flip-flop. That would have been my error. But let's go ahead and take a look. Let's throw the roughness on roughness. No, that looks okay. Let's throw the metallic on metallic. That all looks okay. Not too bad. Dial that metallic up. Gives it a little bit of a shine to it. Maybe not that much. I'm going to tone it down a little bit. A little bit of shine's okay. A little bit of sheen is okay, and I don't mind that. We're giving Full Sail some free advertising because I wasn't going to go in and paint over that. But we're going to put a vest over it, so we're not going to actually see that Full Sail patch. Steve did have patches on his shoulders, which you could make really easily in Maya. If we end with extra time, maybe I'll give it a shot. Just trying to make like an American flag patch to throw on here, but I don't think we'll have time for that. But if we end super early, I'll give it a whirl. I'll show you how you can probably throw a patch on there. All right, we'll call this a jacket. How big is the source dimensions? A little too big for me. So let's go ahead and hit next step. And now let's get this posed. So this was pulled off of Sketchfab. It was not made for Steve. I will scale it up a little bit. There we go. Bring it back. Actually, I like that. I don't want to scale that. That looks like it's fitting well. Let's go ahead and hit start pose match right here. All right, now let's go ahead. We've got it mirrored. When I was working on a test earlier, it wasn't mirrored, so I just wanted to double check myself. Kind of get that wrist right about there and bring this elbow down. Now, when you're placing this, you only need about 60% accuracy. You'll see there's biceps sticking out here, back here as well. It's a little asymmetrical between the two. Probably, I don't want to say this was a 3D scan. They just kind of like created this probably in something like Marvelous Designer and then did a retopologize over the top of it. But that's why it's a little asymmetrical. I mean, it's open, so the asymmetry is kind of what I wanted. Is what attracted me to this. But if I wanted to, I could turn that mirror off. Maybe pull this forward a little bit more. Pull this wrist forward a little bit more. All right, let's go ahead and hit, well, we can hit preview pose wrap and take a look at it. Not doing too bad. I feel like the wrists could do a little bit better. Let's bring those up a little bit more. Hit preview pose wrap again. All right, let's give that a shot. And confirm, and next step. I mean, it's not giving apocalypse yet, but this is looking really good. This looks, look at how well that just fit over his shirt. If you wanted to add a jacket to a character who already had a shirt, something along those lines, that worked really well. That worked really well. All right, let's go ahead and import another piece. Let's go ahead and grab, I'm gonna grab that bandana. Because I want that under the jacket. It's got a really low poly texture. I could not find a great bandana on Sketchfab for free. Everything was either like a 3D scan that was molded into a shirt, it didn't have any separations, or I had to pay lots of money for it. And with these streams, I do try to keep it as free as possible so you can see what out there you can do, what you can grab for free as well. So this one's a little bit rough. It's still reading bandana. What if I just take the color off and make it my own? I probably should have kept it down this way, kind of red. Where's a good red? Is that saturation? There we go. Let's bring the value down. Let's make that a little bit duskier red. While it still feels cartoony, something about the non-pixelated look feels a little better. We'll call this a headpiece, and we'll bring it down closer to the neck. Ooh, don't keep the source dimensions on that one. Hit next step. And yeah, I'm gonna bring that down. Right around here, perfect. Let's rotate it a bit so it's not crushed into the body. Like that. That looks pretty good. It's under the shoulders. If I wanted to, I could probably hit confirm, start pose match, and just kind of pose those down a little bit. And if I preview pose wrap, you'll watch, well, that didn't work as well as I thought. But we'll go ahead and hit confirm and next step. And while this is playing, let's take a look. Let's see under my events here. Show you some of the, let's open this image here. So this is from Discord. This is one of the references that I'm looking at where he's got that bandana. There's that bomber jacket. There's this vest on top of it. I got the spear and the shield as well. I got a hat too. That's one of them. What's another one? There's this one right here. Open image and new tab. Kind of got the strap across here. I've got the backpack for that. I might have to, I'm gonna find an actual strap coming across the chest in our own marketplace because I couldn't find a great one online. So I'll see if our marketplace has one. I also stole some from Nancy, and I'm forgetting her name. But I also stole some camo pants, stole some of that fashion from Uma Thurman's daughter, and I can't remember. Oh well, but yeah. So there's Steve. She worked at 2 Scoops. I've seen the whole thing. I swear. Oh well, it's gonna drive me nuts. But there we go. So that's kind of the idea behind that bandana. It is sitting on the wrong side, so I'm gonna use my dynamic layers. I love my dynamic layers. Tuck that in right here, and that just works. It works perfectly. We got the shirt on underneath it. We got the jacket. Let's throw the vest on now. Import, cloth and accessories. Fun fact, this Steve Harrington, I'm like, there's no way there's a Steve Harrington model on the web. I'm going to type it in, just for funsies. I'm going to type it in, not the jacket, I want the vest. I'm going to type it in just for funsies, Steve Harrington 3D model on Sketchfab, and see what pops up. See if I can't get somebody maybe who did like a sculpture or something, do some work on it. But no, it worked perfectly at first try, and then I realized he's in Dead by Daylight. That's why. So I'm pretty sure this is a rip from Dead by Daylight. Which is a game I've always wanted to play, but nobody wants to play with me. I'm working on Fabric 3. Let's take a look at some of this. Okay, so I've got some options here. I can swap out whatever color I want. So I've got this orange or this green. Those are the 2 colors I have. I got normal map. I don't know what that new map is. Probably a roughness map, but I can choose between these 2. So if you've got multiple textures, this is a great example of being able to choose what texture you want for which item. Grab the normal map. Grab the, it looks like an ambient occlusion map. And that looks like a metallic map, and that looks like a roughness map. So this one looks like the roughness. This one looks like an ambient occlusion map. And like I said, this one looks like a metal map. That's looking pretty good. If I took that value down, it'll make it a little duskier, a little darker. Wish I could add some like gray to this. I can make it a little bit more brown. I guess, yeah, if I kind of aim for right around there, if I was to crank that color up, you'll see that's more of a purple. But purple and green, like a light green, is kind of creating that grayish tint to it. That's what I wanted. Take that value up a little bit. I think that's looking pretty cool. Maybe take that purple down a little, push it a little bit more right around there. Right around there. Some color theory playing with that right there. There we go. That looks good. All right, next step. This is a vest dressed in our best vest. Right there. Next step. And move it up. Move it back. Let's scale this up just a little bit because it's like it's from like an army surplus store. That's the idea behind it. So it's not meant for a late teens, early 20s boy. Well, maybe it is. That's a different conversation. Our armor is built for what I still consider children. Oh, we gotta pull that way forward. I got that in the wrong spot. Cancel. Move this back. Okay, so it's like forward. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of fixing here. Let's scale it up a little bit bigger. Ooh, too big, too big, too big. There we go. Right around there, probably okay. All right, so now let's go back to our pose match. We're gonna have to pull our head forward and our neck base forward and maybe up a little bit. There we go. Pull our shoulders out and up a little bit to match that. Bring these hips in a little ways and definitely back. Kind of giving a weird kind of forward pose here, but as long as we get it nailed where we want it, maybe bring those hips up a little bit, because then if I preview pose wrap, that'll pull the whole vest down. Yeah, it's looking a little bit better. All right, let's go ahead and hit confirm and next step and let MetaTailor do its magic instead of us fighting with it. All right, so this was kind of like my key feature here. The vest over the bomber jacket, over the regular clothing. And it's doing an okay job. Let's see here. Let's pull this down. Confirm. What if I use my favorite tool, the lattice tool? Ooh, I might need a 4x4. Might have to break out the big guns. What I'm trying to do here is I want to get this shoulder pad a little bit smaller. I don't want it encroaching so much on the collar there. I want it out a little bit, but I want to kind of pull it like that. So that's my goal. That's what I'm aiming to do here. Is pull this out like that. And if this works, if I can get this moved and maneuvered in a way, these big broad changes, I'm hoping that this collar will stick out a little bit. If only there was a way to do this in the near future. That was not subtle at all. And as a reminder, join our Discord. Our Discord is where we post all of our great news. Anything new and upcoming, we will put it on our Discord first. So keep an eye on that. Join our Discord. Let's see how this looks. For anything that could be coming down the pipeline. So that's working a little bit better. I don't think I'll be able to truly, maybe with my grab tool, get this part of the coat sticking out unless I had the vest that was open as well. I'll try my grab tool as one little bit right here. Kind of like that. Maybe I can like even force it open. That might be a little bit much. So you're kind of seeing two different schools of thought on this. We've got the lattice I was working on before, which was like broad, general changes. I love the lattice tool. And then I've got the little bit more manual. I find it a little bit more too organic for my liking to use a lot of the time. You can see here I've got the grab tool, which is very similar to like ZBrush and stuff like that, where I'm trying to move and manipulate. And so this side's looking good. This side, I think that's the best we're gonna get. I think I'd have to really distort this in order to really pull this collar down and out of the way. I mean, I can try it, but I think it's gonna, at the end of the day, I need a way to just like have this top collar be unaffected in any way, shape, or form. But that's pretty good. I mean, yeah, you can see where it's contorted. You can see where there's an issue with the grouping, with the pulling. I can probably try to relax some of that back in and maybe smooth some of that back out a little bit. But overall, can I hit? No. I'd have to re-import it and try again. But I think I'll leave it like that for now. We're going to put some belts and stuff over that. We might not even focus on that. All right, let's get the new pants. He's got jeans on. The jeans still work, but I specifically got new pants. New pants. So if you go back to those references that are on Discord, there is, like these pants have this kind of like he's wearing like cargo-y pants, and I just wanted those cargo-y pants. That was kind of the goal of this. Metallic, ambient occlusion. Did it have a roughness? It did. There it is. All right. Take down some of that smoothness. Crank some of that up. Once again, let's darken it a little bit. Let's make these a little darker. His pants are a little bit more tan. Now, the color changes that I'm doing in here currently do not stick. If I was to export this out to any sort of Unreal, Unity, FBX, the color changes I make in here only exist inside of MetaTailor for now. But so keep that in mind when you're working on it. That is not something I don't think we have in the near future, but that is always something we want to make sure we can start manipulating and adding and getting into future versions of MetaTailor. Definitely on our to-do list is making sure those color changes actually stick when you make those changes in MetaTailor, because you want to have that customizability. That's important to have. There we go. What's neat about this with this model is I can kind of see where the pants and shirt ended before. Where when we're working on the nude model, usually the layers disappear. All of these items disappear. So I'm guessing where to put the pant line to make sure there's no stomach sticking out. But with this, I've got a lot better view of it. So I'm going to confirm and start pose match and pull this out like that. There we go. Pull the shoe out like that. Had that hit a little bit better. That did pretty good. Bring the hips in. He's a little bit thinner. Bring him up just a little bit to get that butt into place. Bring those knees forward. That's looking pretty good. I need like a badonk pointer, a little landmark, so I can bring in the waist and bring in the butt and make him have a much smaller butt. He does not have a big butt. All right, let's go ahead and let's run with that. I think that's pretty good. Let MetaTailor do its magic. All right, he's looking a little bit like a Poindexter with everything tucked in, but we'll fix that in just a second. A little bit sticking out right here. I can always take the thickness and crank that up, but as was pointed out to me, something I always forget that is an option for you as our users. You also have the option, my head was a little bit in the way, to go into tailoring right here and turn on auto visibility, and that's gonna hide the faces that are underneath. This. So sometimes that'll fix it. You can see it's kind of clipping it a little bit right there. But let's also take this and drop it down below all these layers. So some of those faces are now underneath the vest. And if you wanted to, you could also click on Steve Harrington, grab your visibility brush, hit Sculpt Original to not have it kind of manipulated, and just hide these parts as well. You can always just visibility out the bits that are sticking out. These are doing okay. I don't think I need to do any visibility in that area. Come on. Ooh. I get it. This time I'll do a sculpt layer because I do want it to stick out. And I want it to have the layers affecting it as I pick that. There we go. I can see the exact faces that are being manipulated and pushed out. And hide those. All right, so I gave him different pants. Oh, come on. Why don't you like me? All right. This is awkward. I'm not going to say what I'm doing down here. But I'm going to use my tools and adjust it that way. If it won't work with the two options I just showed you, grab your tools and make absolutely no jokes as you fix this area down here. No jokes. Don't want to get banned. All right. There we go. Perfect. We got pants, we got jacket, we got shirt. Cloth and accessories. Let's see. We got bandana. We can do the backpack now. Let's give the backpack a shot. So the backpack's going to be tough, but we're going to give it a shot. So when looking for a backpack, one of the things you really have to pay attention to, a lot of people like to 3D scan everything. 3D scan clothing, 3D scan, excuse me, backpacks. That's all fine and dandy. You can absolutely 3D scan, but that doesn't make a game-ready asset. That makes you an asset that is got textures that are kind of pictured. It doesn't have real UVs. It doesn't have a low poly count. It doesn't deform or morph in ways that you want it to. Hi, Smashy Boy. So there's always a little bit of a hiccup with 3D scans. And with backpacks, one of the biggest things that they have is that the straps are pressed against it because they're taking a picture of it. It's not assuming there's shoulder or weight or thickness in between. So finding a backpack was tough because I wanted this volume in here. And I was able to find it eventually. Is it more of a military backpack, a little bit more military than I wanted? Slider 02. Slider 02 normal. I don't think that's going to do anything. Let's do main. Bag 3, main 02. There we go. I saw the other ones, strap 05. I'm looking at the ones that have a lot of information on them. There we go. And as always, ooh, that's specifically a strap. Let's go main. Darken that value. Make that a little bit darker. Maybe take some of that saturation up. Take some of that hue's looking pretty good. And let's go to, what was that, strap 01. Saturation. Kind of see what we're affecting. Bring the value down. Then bring that saturation down. Make it a little bit more grayish green. Got a lot of buckles on here too. What are these buckles? Is that all the, no, I still got a couple buckles, but let's just bring the saturation down. I probably bring the value down. I probably bring it almost all the way down to like a dusky gray color. We got plate. Same idea. And bring the value of the zippers down. There's still more, but wait, there's more. The sliders. Goodness gracious, there we go. Look at that. I took it from a very bright backpack to a nice darker, duskier backpack. I think that looks better. It is giving me a high poly warning. This backpack does exceed 100,000 polys. It is still a high poly backpack, so it was hard, like I said, hard to find a good backpack. That's working pretty well. Not that size. Let's hit next step. But like I said, I really like this one specifically because I could just pop it right over his shoulders like this. So this is also impartial to trying to find something that, woo, straps for across the body and stuff like that to kind of fit that area. That looks pretty good. Come up here. Bring these shoulders in a little bit more. Bring the head down a little bit more. I don't want to hit preview pose wrap because it's a high poly, but what I will do is I'll hit next step and let it do its magic. Now it's gonna take a second. It's gonna tailor this, get it into position, but it is a high poly piece. So we'll let MetaTailor do its grind for a second. That strap looks nice across there. We did all this dark, dusky stuff, but for our full sail jacket, we didn't really go in and do that for this one. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and take our value down and see if we can't get more of a green jacket by getting this to like more of the yellow area. Oh, we'll change the hue. There we go. A little bit. Maybe like, let's see. I don't want it to get too like muddy. So let's go right around there. That looks pretty good. I don't want all these colors to just blend in, which they're kind of doing. But he's looking good. He's looking closer and closer to the actual reference. All right, we got our pants, we got our jacket, we got our vest. This next thing is something I'm super excited for. I'm saving the weapons and the shield for the end because those are just silly. But I found these hats. I was looking for hats. I'm like, what's a good hat? Because he's got in one of those references a backwards baseball cap. And I was looking for something fun to add. And I think I was really excited for this. But the way it was presented was in a weird way. So we're going to find out together how well this hat works. Hat, FBX. All right, it's a normal hat. There it is. Cool. I didn't know if I would have to go in. I found a D&D hat, which I was like, that's perfect. Perfect for Steve Harrington. It does not have normal maps, but it was like a pile of like 10 hats. However many hats are in this, or textures there are in this picture. It's like a pile of 10 hats at different angles and weird things like that. Some of them got Legend of Zelda. Some of them got Star Wars. One of them had like a D20. And I was debating between D20 and just the Dungeons and Dragons symbol. But I went with the Dungeons and Dragons symbol because I thought that was awesome. Hi, B-Rad. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for joining us. Awesome. All right, that's it. Next step. We'll call it a hat. Call it a headpiece. What are our source dimensions? A little bit smaller. Let's do that. It puts it on the ground. That's the one downside to that, but we can pull that up. Pull that over. Get that closer. Probably shouldn't have hit keep source dimensions because that just puts more work on us. But I can spin this around. Now, I don't think the hair is going to work for this, so we'll have to use the visibility brush for the hair. Why do you say that, Shane? What on earth would tip me off that Zelda, Legend of Zelda, the Hyrulean shield would have been a better choice? There would have been no way for me to know that information. For those of you not watching the chat, that is the avatar that Shane is sporting. I don't know how well this will work with all this hair. It's got the little tuft coming out though, so it could look cool. It's a little big. I'm like shaping it off the hair, not the head. I'm definitely gonna have to use the visibility brush on something like this. And I'm gonna have to turn off effects layering. I think I don't wanna do that. Let's hit confirm, next step. Let's see what we can do with this. Oh, that looks, I mean, that looks cool all on its own. Let's turn off effects layering so it doesn't do that. Oh, I like the look of that a lot. I like the look of that a lot. We just have to clear out some of this hair. All right. Visibility brush, sculpt layered. All right. It doesn't like the backpack. It's fighting with this backpack. But I like the backpack. I think it adds to the character. All right. Clear out some of this hair. Just very carefully, just clicking this button. I don't want to clear out too much because I do want it to still hang out the bottom here, but you can see, let's hit reset. Let's get reset again. Let's hit cancel. All right. Let's go ahead and clear the backpack for now, just so we're not killing ourselves with the visibility brush. Sculpt layered. I want to get a smaller brush this time. There we go. Smaller radius, smaller radius. Just be careful coming down here. We're not clipping away too much. See, my hand slipped. I should have let go. That's okay. That's okay. We'll keep it like that. Aiming for these guys. Okay, we're doing good. We're doing good. Coming this way. Keeping everything kind of underneath the cap right here. There was a different Steve Harrington that, for some reason, wouldn't download properly with his Scoops Ahoy outfit. It was like a corrupted file off of Sketchfab, but it had better hair because that hair was already under a hat, and that was the one I was going to pull in for this. So always check other things. It's like deleting the hair, meaning you wouldn't see it anymore when you export the avatar. Correct. Let's hit confirm, and I'll show you. It is the visibility brush. So it's not deleting the hair, but it's making the hair invisible, and that visibility does transfer as you export it out. It does hide those faces. Why? It should have. I did it. We did it around the other part, unless this visibility brush, let's see here, sculpt layered again. It absolutely should be doing that. I cleared all those. Unless it's radius, no, that's all correct, confirmed. Unless I have to do it specifically to the material, Shane can ping me if I'm doing it wrong. But I'm just checking. Oh, is that what I did earlier? Did I hit the wrong button? I'll turn off auto visibility. I have apply visibility. That's all turned on. Trim graph tuck in. Okay. I'll just turn it off anyway in case those two are fighting with each other. And I'll make sure I'm on the hair. I don't think, you don't normally need to be on the material. That's not something that, because it's going off of the mesh data. But I'm trying to figure out what is causing that. Let's just do 2 big swipes here. And hit confirm. Just see how that does. There it goes. So with effects layering and that visibility brush, we are essentially what looks like deleting the hair, but it's not actually deleting the hair. It is just applying a visibility to that hair. Auto-visible overrides visibility you painted. When you hit the sculpt layer, it applies the over, so you need, yeah. Perfect. Oops. Cancel. I'm on the hat on accident. I wanted to be on the hair. I clicked on the wrong part. Visibility. Sculpt layered. So now I can just touch up these small little spots that I skipped. Right here around the base. On the side here. The hair's still sticking out right there, right there. I mean, that piece right there would have been cool. Give me a smaller brush. And a nice small brush. That's a little bit better. All right, confirm. A little bit of hair sticking out for Steve the Harrington. And there he is. Look at that. That looks great. Sticking out the front of the cap. Only thing I'd say is this cap is a little wide. So what can we do? Lattice. Because the lattice is going off the world dimensions and not the object dimensions that the hat was set to. So that's why I chose lattice over just scaling it, because the scale, at least it was earlier, being a little wacky. It might be okay now that we're actually in the model, but look at that. That worked just fine. And it kept the top in the right direction too. So I probably would still go for lattice over the other one. Cool. All right. That's looking great. Let's go ahead and let's find that belt to go across the back. So I've got some belts in here that'll probably work, that I'll probably end up going with. The Mad Max belt works well. The Pirate Chest belt works well. The Wasteland Warrior belt, a little bit chunky. The Army Service belt would work well. So I'm looking for a strap to come across the chest, because that's how he strapped the shield and the spear to his back. That's kind of what I'm looking for, to go underneath the backpack, but then still, or even second to the backpack if I bring the backpack back at all. Some of those would well. The pirate belt straps would work. They just have a really ornate buckle. This regular belt would work. I did like... Ooh, I'm changing my mind on that one now. I think the Mad Max belt will work well. It's a little thick. It's going around his waist, but now I can scale this up, tilt it. It feels like a normal belt. Kind of just get it into position where I want it first, the direction and the position I want it, and then we can start making some overarching changes like that. And inwards quite a ways. It's still a little huge. I'll probably shrink that down like that. Let's see what that does. I took it way farther in than it needs to be, but hey, that worked well. Oh my gosh. That worked better than I thought. That's awesome. Perfect. So there's that belt. If I wanted to go back to my clothing, I could go ahead and go back to all clothing. And where's that backpack? There's that backpack we just added. And then we can grab our spear. And if we wanted the belt on top of the backpack, the only problem with that is that's going to go over the pack right here, and I don't want that. So it's like it's a hard balance between, all right, do we want it to go, is it going to go over the pack? Or is the pack weird enough? It's trying to. It's trying to. You can see it right here. That might be a small enough hiccup that we don't need to worry about that. Somebody might not notice that small hiccup right there, that it's not going under the backpack, that it's trying to go over, but the backpack's too big. So that might be fine for us. But let's go ahead and grab the spear. And then if I want to get rid of the backpack, I'll get rid of the backpack. Spear. Now, Steve's spear in the show is just a knife duct taped to the end of a broom. And I didn't have time to sculpt that myself, so I just found something a little bit more primitive that I felt felt the same vibe. All the big medieval spears and all that stuff didn't feel quite right. I don't think that's metalness. I think that's... Yeah, that was ambient occlusion. They called it metalness, but it's not metalness. Looking at the design, I'm like, that's ambient occlusion. All right. Next step, this we'll call an accessory. And keep source dimensions, because that was huge. And we'll pull it up. I want it strapped to his back. Like so. Perfect. Confirm. Next step. And it's going to ask where we want it to fit on our character, right across the back like it was. Somewhere probably right in there. It's fighting with the backpack. It shouldn't though, because this is an accessory. There we go. There's that. Just a little bit more that way. Bring it a little bit more that way. Bring it down a little bit more. Kind of like that. That looks good. And once again, if you're not showing the back of your character and you're just kind of like showing something like this, or even like you can even get to like here and nobody would notice, or you could cheat to the camera a little bit. Depending on what you're posing, what your poses are. All right, there he is. I mean, we can even take a quick peek at a pose. We could look at where's a nice male standing idol. Oh, that looks good. Do male, he doesn't run very much. Male walking's looking good. Look how good that looks. None of these pieces that I have pulled together are from the same set. The vest, the shirt, the pants, the spear, the backpack, the belt was pulled off of our MetaTailor marketplace. The hat, these are all from different artists on different parts of Sketchfab at different levels of polygon counts, different levels of texture, different application methods of texture. Some are ripped from games like the characters ripped from games like Dead by Daylight. The spear is made by somebody. So all of these different things are coming together, and MetaTailor is letting me fuse these all together into a very cohesive character. Something that was walking around in Fortnite or something like that, it would make sense. So I think it's really cool that we're able to capture this and do this in the way that we are. All right, let's go ahead and add our final piece. I'll clear the backpack for now. That was cool while it lasted. Let's go ahead and clear the backpack. I want you under the spear, or over the spear, I should say. It's doing an okay job. Take the spear, just kind of crank it around a little bit. There we go. Add some thickness to that. And I can grab my grab tool. And just bump that. There we go. Confirm, and let's grab our last piece. His shield was just the lid of a garbage can, which I did find, which funnily enough, it had no textures. So we're just going to create those textures purely in engine here, in the MetaTailor engine. All right, so there's our trash can lid. Let's bring our value down a little darker gray. Bring our metalness all the way up. Bring our smoothness not all the way up, right around there. I think that'll work. Like a blue-gray. I think that looks good. Next step, call it an accessory. Keep ours. Ooh, that's huge. Looks like a flying saucer beaming him up. Whoa. In the picture, this is also across his back. I don't know how or why or what they did with that to get that to stick. I mean, like, if you're in battle, how are you getting that off your back? If you're going to go fight Vecna. How you... I guess you can flip it around. I guess both could be on that belt, but in reality, if physics were real in this world, I would just slide down to the bottom of the belt. It wouldn't actually... Excuse me. It'd sit right there. That looks pretty good. And like we're like just try to look at it from like this perspective right here. Just add some depth to our character. Like so. And there he is. Back of the trash can lid doesn't look great, but he's got everything he needs to go fight Vecna. All right, we got 4 minutes left. Let's do the unthinkable. Let's go ahead and put him on the thing that was weirdly absent from the abyss. Abyss. Can't talk. Let's put the whole outfit on a Demogorgon. Grab that spear. Bring it up. Grab that trash can lid. Bring it up. Some of you who are new to this stream are like, you just have a Demogorgon on hand? Of course, don't you? Demo Steve. It did pretty well. I mean, I'm not really going around it and taking a look at it, but it did pretty well for putting all these items on a Demogorgon. The one thing it's struggling with is around the head. I don't know why. The bandana, but he's wearing the hat, almost like a Demogorgon would wear a hat. It probably doesn't have effects layering turned off like we did with Steve, so we can turn the effects layering off. I would probably have to re-import the hat to get it to not do that. But yeah, there it goes. Now the Demogorgon's wearing the outfit. What else can we throw it on? What other character can we throw it on besides my demons there? I don't have a Nancy character. Closest I have probably be this avatar right here. Because all the metahumans that I have are a little bit older. They're more like middle-aged people my age. Once again, not a early 20s person. This is also a little bit more cartoony. But flip it over to this avatar. What kind of hair do I have? And I know I probably have that blue hair because this is from Character Creator. This is a Character Creator character. Firm. All worked well. Oh, the belt is the only thing that's getting a little thrown off. Because it's supposed to be around the shoulder and it's putting it where a belt belongs. It looks good, but it's supposed to kind of come up. Let's make it big again. Does not like going big. There we go. Just so we can get it in the right position, and then we can shrink it back down. We had a lot of luck shrinking that down like this way and letting MetaTailor figure out the rest. It didn't do as good of a job on this character as it did with Steve. I also put a little bit more time into it with Steve, so I'll just clear that belt. I can clear the trash can lid. It's looking silly. Because I wanted to look at hair. What kind of hair do I have that I could put under this hat? That's from Mechanic Girl. That's Freerin. What's close? I mean, the blue is not too far from the curliness of Nancy in the final season. We've got this one right here. I think was originally what we were throwing on the Demogorgon before. Forget what character this is from. I think it's from a character called Ophelia because it's got OPH. This is more earlier seasons, but it works. It works. And that goes under the hat a lot nicer. We can clear this. Let's see what else we got. Got Karlach. Let's go for the blue hair. Oh, but it's got a ponytail. It's not going to like that. I think that black Ophelia hair was our best bet. Give the illusion like it's sticking out the back part. Not that it would actually, not that that much hair would actually come out the back. There's tie back under the hat. Oh, and the hat's got to go over the hair. There we go. Not too bad. Did okay. But we were able to transfer avatars that easily. Whoa! Turn off effects layering. Bring that back. Hey, that did a pretty good job. We'll end it by going back to Steve. That way I can save it and it looks pretty in my loadout for next week. And we gotta get rid of the blue hair on Steve. Effects layering, and I'll clear the spirit too, just so it looks nice in my loadout. Save. There we go. All right. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with us. I was just hitting save and closing out of that. Thank you all for joining us on this week's live stream. Finished up right on time creating Steve Harrington for that secret episode 9. Like I said, I was gonna refresh Netflix. Let's pull up Netflix real quick. Is it out? I can't show you Netflix because my screen blacks out unless I turn off some settings in Google Chrome. Oops. Don't start playing the whatever anime is on top. Let's see. Stranger Things. Also, I don't want to get... Oof. Come on. Show me the episodes. Is it up? Is it up? Is this bit dead yet? Stranger Things, Season 5. 8 episodes. Lame. Even though all the previous episodes, or the previous season had 9 episodes, this one only has 8. Maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll see if there's a secret Stranger Things episode. All right. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to see more streams like this one. Make sure you join our Discord. I'm going to drop the link for the Discord in the chat again. It is really important. If you guys haven't caught the drift from this stream, it is really important to join the Discord. Not only because we've got an amazing community who can support you and answer your questions on anything that you have, but also because those of you on our Discord get information first. So if we're going to have any secret live streams or announce any big news next week, if we were to do that, if that was on the table, Discord would be where to find out. If you wanted to find out some big MetaTailor news, join the Discord. Make sure you follow us on the Discord. And the other thing we did is before the stream today, we had a little bit of an early start for those Discord users. About 30 minutes before the stream, I was just hanging out on Discord with whoever was there. I fixed those ARM textures, kind of got those ready in Photoshop. When I was done with that, I jumped in and I was just playing with a character in Maya, just seeing if it's even viable for a future stream. So you can hang out with me as I do a little bit of work beforehand. I can answer questions, hang out, listen to music with me. But that's pretty much it on the Discord. And actually on the Discord, I just realized I can play my actual music. I don't have to play the royalty-free stream music on the Discord. I can play whatever I want. So come hang out with me on the Discord before the streams. And for next week's stream, watch out on Discord. See what happens. All right, everybody. Thank you again. Have a good evening. Go watch episode 9 of Stranger Things when it comes out. And